Hello and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Ormark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today we're looking at Grassy Groves, which is a lovely silhouette stamp set. And we are going to be making a Pinwheel Tower card. I've got I'm part of a challenge swap that I take part in, and the swap this time is for a pinwheel card. So I thought I would do one which is going to be slightly different. So I have got all the measurements and things that I need, which are down here. So if you want to screenshot it, please do. But what we need is a 4 1/4 inch square. Now, what I've done is I have taken copy paper, because you don't want anything that's too thick. You can use cardstock, but it makes it quite bulky and it doesn't lie particularly flat. You don't need anything very much, so I'm just using plain copy paper. So it's 4 1/4 inches square, and then you score it every 1 inch. So let's do it so you can see it very quickly and easily. Make sure that I'm in view here. So literally you're going to score it at 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch and 4 inch. Okay, so you have a little tiny 1/4 inch fold, which will give you your, put that back down there, which will then give you your piece to be able to stick it onto the side. So what you need to do is just literally fold it up on each one of those scores. Very simple, very easy to do. And that is your tower. So everything is attached to this. Okay, I'd give it a score, and then we've got that piece, so I can put that to one side. Then you need 4 pieces, which are 4 1/4 inches by 2 3/4 inches. Now these will form your, they're your mat. So I'm doing it in dark. So I've got my 4 pieces, which are 4 1/4 by 2 3/4. Then, exactly as you do a card mat, you want your next pieces to be 1/4 inch smaller to give you your mat. So these 4 pieces are going to be 4 inches by 2 1/2 inches. So 1/4 inch smaller each side. And then we want 4 pieces which are 4 inches by 1 1/2 inches. And they will form the pieces at the side. Okay, so that's all we need, and once we've cut that out we can then go and make the card. Now what I'm doing with this is I want to have everything to seamlessly run into each other. So I want all of these pieces to go together, because I want the whole of the scene to be the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these 4 pieces together, and we're going to work on all of these at the same time. I'm then going to, I could really have these ones in as well, but I want to have it this way round. So let me just put, this one's going to come in down on here like this. Okay, so I'm going to work on a panel at a time, I think, because I don't think I'm going to be able to do it all in the same. So let's work on a panel. Now a panel is going to be one of the long pieces and one of the long pieces and one of the short pieces. I'm putting it on the side because I work better this way down. I've got a sponge dauber, and I've got some ink colours, and I want to have, we're going to start with our bumblebee, and I'm going to do each one of them at the same time so we can get them all in together, and hopefully it will work that way. I'm not completely, so I'm just going to take the bumblebee in first of all. And I'm taking this up right the way through. Because I do like to have the colours coming through all together. So if you start by doing your base in one colour, I've done another sort of similar sample, but this is just a way of doing this one. Okay, so that's those done. Can move that to the side. Let's take the next one out. So it's going to be a little bit of a labour of love, but I think it will work quite well. So let's make sure we've got these pieces in, and we're going to do exactly the same thing with this. So I am doing it quite quickly. When you do it, spend just a little bit more time, but I just want to give the bumblebees quite nice as well, because it's a nice sort of dark colour. So I'm doing this on here. That bit slid a little bit. It doesn't really matter. It's just so that you get the same sort of brush strokes coming through with your blending brush, so that it comes through at the same sort of intensity. So we'll move that one to the side. We'll take the next one and put that one in like that. And as I say, if you've got a large enough, because I'm working with the screen here, which isn't as easy for you to see, I would probably just tape them all together and do them all at the same time, completely done. But I can't fit all of it onto the screen, so it's just the easiest way of doing it for me. And I'm just putting all of those in. So we've got one more to do. Let's put that one up there. So last one in. And it really probably doesn't matter too much with your first colour. You just want the rest of the colours to sort of blend in together. And particularly when we come to doing the stamping, you want the pieces to be together so that the scene runs through to each other, which I think it will do. So nearly done on this first one. So let me just bring that one in like that. Okay, so that's our bumblebee. Now I'm going to take, the next colour is going to be my polished pink. So I want some polished pink on here, and that's going to come just sort of in from the side. And we'll have it just coming across on the centre here. Maybe a little bit round on the side of here. And just up on the top a bit. So I'm doing this fairly sort of quickly. So that's that one. And as I say, you can just sort of get it as quickly. So I need to have a look and see how I've done that. So we want it round on the sides of each one of them, like this, up in the top. As I say, I'm doing this fairly quickly because I don't want to spend too much time just on the sponging, but it does give you an idea. So that's that one, and that's very similar to that. So you want them as similar as you can get them. Let's take the next one. So on this one we're doing exactly the same thing, up on the side, up on this side, and I'm not doing it right down at the bottom because I want to have that bottom piece. Got a little piece missed out on here. I think I didn't get my yellow in there, never mind. Should be okay. Put that one on the top, and then the last one, let's put that over there. Again, putting them both together, taking them down from the side, up on the top, up in on the top here, and then just down on the side of this one. So I haven't got any in the center at all on there, which is what I want. So that's the polished pink. Again, you can use whatever colors you want. Now I'm using the Misty Moonlight, which, give me 2 seconds, that open. So Misty Moonlight is our darkest color, and so that's going to come in quite dark. So we want to try and take that up to the top. Bring it round, down on the side, so it's coming in, and this time this one is coming up from the bottom. So we're taking it up from the bottom and then up on the sides, so you get that sort of misty sort of look to it, which is what we want. So that's, oh, I've just dropped a piece on the floor. Pick that up. Okay, so this is the next one, and if you keep looking at one to the other, you can then see how you want it. So, and as I say, I'm doing it quite quickly, so there will be some sort of splotchy pieces and things coming in on here, but to be quite honest, that doesn't matter too much, because how we're doing it, we are going to be stamping all over this, which will give a very different sort of look to it. So just taking that over on the top, this down on the bottom, and just bringing that one in. So that's number 2, that one in for number 3. And as I say, it takes a few minutes, but it certainly is not something that takes too long. And as I say, you can just sort of blend it in as you go. Bring it up round the sides, down on the bottom here, up on the sides here. And we've got one more to do, and then we should be finished with this sponging. So you can see how you can create it. Obviously you're doing 4, so it's a little bit more than doing just 1, as you would do for a card, but there's no reason why you can't do this, you know, and just do it for a card. You know, just pick the colours that you want. So I'm just taking this up from the side like this, a little bit across the top, a little bit across on the top of here, and then just down on that side. Okay, so that's our sponging done, and you can see that you've got the same sort of really nice pattern in on there. So we can now turn our pieces this way, because this is where we're going to stamp them. Okay, so put them together again, and I'm going to take this background here, and that's going to go across the bottom, and then because this panel's going on the side, I'm going to put 2 of the trees in on that side. So let's get a, I don't think I've got a block out that's big enough for that one. That's the long one. So I need that one for that one, and then I've got one for the tree, which is over here. Okay, so we'll put our tree in on here. So that's our tree. Should be nice and straight. Make sure that I've got it straight. Should be fine. And then this one is going to go in on here. So that can go on there. Okay, now I'm going to use black. And you need a good strong black. Now, as you know, I use Memento quite often, but I also use VersaFine. And I find for doing something like this, you can use the Memento, but for me, the VersaFine is just a little bit darker and easier. You can put it on the Stamparatus and use your Memento, but I want to do it on here. So we're putting this down at the bottom. Give it a good press, particularly where that seam is, and then take it off. So that's one. And we can move that one out to the side. Then we're going to take the next one. So we need to have this one exactly the same, and we're going to ink that up. And then just make sure that they're side by side. You don't have to glue them or tape them down or anything. Just literally do them in, and just make sure that, as I say, you press it quite nicely down by the seam. So that's our second one. Let's take our third one. I can move this just across. I'm just wanting to make sure that it's dried nicely. So let's take the next one, which is here. I'm going to move these up on here. So we'll put this one together like that. Take this, ink it up all the way around. Make sure that that's level. Put it down on the bottom. That's the next one. And you can see how it's starting to look really good as a scene running through. And then this is the last one of these. And then we can put this one in on there. Make sure that it's the right way up so that we've got the blue bit down at the bottom. And the sky coming through. And then we'll just put that one down in on the bottom. Okay, so that's that bit done. Now we need to take our, I think it's looking quite good now. I think once we put it together as well, it'll look lovely. It's got a really long scene coming through. So just going to give this a bit of a clean through. And then let's take our tree. Now the tree, I'm just going to put on the corner panel. So the tree is just going to come in on this one. So I'm going to take it up and just put it in like that. Okay, so we'll do one of these on each one of them. This out, put the tree in, take this one out and do the tree in again. You can see how it's building up into a beautiful scene. You could have this just for the card. These colours work really nicely. that one on there, and then we'll have this one in on here. It's got a real sort of Aurora Borealis look to it, which is rather fun. So those are our trees in on there. Okay, so now we can start to put these pieces together, and we'll go and get the pinwheel part done and sorted. So we've got our piece here that we our 4 1/4 inch square that we've scored at 1 inch, and we're literally just going to put this together. Now what I am going to do before I do this, because I don't want to get mucky pieces on, I'm just going to move all of this just out onto here like this, so we haven't got our mucky piece in on there. I always try and use as many sides of my paper as I can, so I'm not wasting it. Okay, so we've got, this is the pinwheel part, because we'll allow it to dry just for a second. I do it on copy paper and it'll become apparent when we get to finishing it, but if you haven't, you can do it on designer series paper, but then you'd have this coloured piece in, or you can do it on cardstock, but cardstock will make it fairly bulky and you honestly don't need it. So we're just putting a little bit of glue on the side of this, and then we can put this together. And what I'm doing is I'm going to fold it down, make sure it's not stuck in on there. Come on, get down a little bit, and then I can just fold this down on here, because then that will go exactly onto that piece like that. Okay, so I'm just going to allow that to dry off completely. So that's our little tower, so our little square that everything sort of rotates onto. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to put our pieces onto our back pieces and our side pieces. So we've got, what have I done with my smaller pieces? I did cut those out and put them down, didn't I? Did I cut them out and put them down, or I might not have done? I might have to cut those out actually. I don't think I've cut those. That's my piece of card on here. And I might have actually done these just a little bit too big. Let me have a look and see. We'll come to doing the back panels of this in a minute. All I'm going to do now is to put this in on here. So we can do these ones first. In fact, we don't need to do the others. So this is going to come in like that. Okay, then we'll take this one and we'll just glue this on here. I'm putting the pieces next to each other that we want to use as our side panels, because then it will become apparent as we put it together of how it will go onto the back pieces, and it makes sense once we've done it. So we don't need to do a mat for those ones, because when we put this together you will have this side panel piece that you need to just put on. But this just will make such a pretty card. So that one's on there, and then the last one is in on here. Come on, always say that I'm just coming to the end of my glue. I use a lot of glue because I only use wet glue because it is my absolute favourite. So, okay. So now what we need to do is we need to take this and we are going to put, so let's take this first one. We are going to put it, you can see that you've got each one of these panels. So this 1-inch piece, we're going to glue this. So we'll glue the panel because then we know we're not going to take it over anywhere. So we're just going to glue this panel. Down on here. And then we're going to put this piece right up against the edge of this on here. Okay, then we're going to get the next piece. So this piece is going to come, and this is where we know that we can then get our pieces that run in together. So again, we're just going to glue in on here up to our edge. Okay, this is going to come in here. So we want this to come up to the edge here. As near as we can get it, not going over. So we'll put that there. And then this we know goes with this piece. So we're going to put that piece down so that we then have got the piece, we've got it so that it's running through in our patterning. Okay, so this piece is then going to go in on here. And then it's going to line up completely with our scene on there. Okay, so then we'll fold it over again and we'll take the next one. And again, always glue your paper so then you know that you're not getting the glue coming too far. And this one is going to go in like this on here. So just take it in quite carefully, right the way up to the edge, but not just allowing a little bit over. Then take the coordinating panel and then this piece can go in on here. Like that. Turn it over again. I think I've done one too many on here. No, I haven't. This has got to go in. So we've got this one. Let's put this glue in on here. And again, glue right the way up through to the edge. Then we're going to put this one in on here. And again, just take it up to the edge, but not over, because then you're making sure that it will fold over. This is the piece that goes on here. So you're making sure that you've got your panel piece exactly the same. So that can go in on here. Like that. And then we can turn this piece over, and this is the first one that we put on, and now we know that this panel will go nicely onto the back of there. So we now have a complete scene that runs all the way round. And when you put it up this way, not that you can see it, you can see that each one of these runs, and when we close it, it still runs completely perfectly through. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to take, let me get this stamp set out again, and I've got my little envelope that I was telling you about, and in here I've got some of these deer that I've die cut, which go with the it's the die set that goes with this Grassy Grove. So the die set that goes with it is called, let me just get it out, it's called something Groves, I'm sure, Grove dies. And these are just lovely, because I turned around and said, get them out to show you, you've got this outside panel piece, which I've shown you a card made with this, which is just beautiful, and then these beautiful little deer, and then all of these pieces that we've the trees and things, you can actually die cut them out separately to make a card if you want to. So with these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take on here and I'm going to put a deer, and I don't know whether I want to have the baby one in on here like that on each scene. I think that might work better than anything else, so I'm going to put that. So we're going to have one of the deer, and again, very easy, just use a little bit of wet glue, because wet glue you can use almost like a pen and just bring it down onto their little extremities and up onto the head and the ears. You don't want any dimensions and everything on this, because this is going to fold flat. So we're going to put the deer in like this. And then we can have the baby deer in amongst the trees here, I think. Or I might, do I have it in? Yes, I think I will. I think I will. So then it runs through in a scene on each one. So we've got these just down by the trees. So we can put him just in like this. So that's one. And again, you just turn it round and you can do exactly the same thing on each one. And what you can do is, if you want to have it so that you've got messages and things like that in there, is to leave one of the panels free. So I'll show you when we get round, and then you can put your little sentiment panel in there. And you can just write over it, because you haven't got a huge amount on here. So let's put this little one in here like this, turn it over. So we'll do 3 of them, and we'll leave one blank so that you can have that for your message, because it's quite pale here, so you can write your message on there. You've got enough room at the top that if you want to make it a specific card, you can put a happy birthday, anniversary, whatever you want on the top here. But I think it just makes a beautiful scene card, which will look lovely put up on the mantelpiece. So I'm not going to do this one because on this I would put my message, so you've got enough room to write on there, but then when you put it up you've got this, that each part you can't necessarily see the part that runs underneath, but you've got this lovely scene running through. That's for your message, but you've got these three pieces and it will stand perfectly on your mantelpiece and just make a really beautiful card. So I hope you enjoyed that. It's using the wonderful Grassy Grove and the coordinating Grove dies, available as a bundle. You can get 10% off the bundle. So thank you so much for watching. As always, please stay safe and well. Please be kind and look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.